Well, I'm about halfway through on this biblical overseas study. I got to tell you, the heat in Egypt is no joke. 111, but the sun is so much more intense than back in Idaho. So our tour guide thought the best thing to do is to have us up at 5 to try to beat the heat, and it was still really hot. So we're in this hotel on the Nile, and directly across from the Nile is where we were heading. So we got on this little boat and went across by boat to save some time. So we went to the Valley of the Kings, which is not close to the Nile. They did that intentionally so the tombs couldn't be flooded. They're made of limestone, mainly because they wanted the colors to be preserved. They could last longer with limestone. A lot different than the other things we've seen, because you go down these long corridors and they're just completely full of all sorts of hieroglyphics. And so they have over 130 of these tombs to the kings, but they only open up a few of them at a time. That way they don't overwhelm the tombs, and they can take time to renovate them. So what's interesting about it is, as soon as the king is elected or set into power, they start building these tombs. And it's the scribe and the priest who are the most powerful ones next to the king that then begin to make this tomb in honor of the king. And they do it while he's still alive. That way he can kind of sign off and everything, make sure that it was okay. What's interesting is all these tomb robbers came and stole all the treasures that were in them. But apparently Howard Carter, this British archaeologist, discovered King Tut's tomb that was fully intact and had all the treasures in it. So these are just amazing tombs. We went into 3 of them, and pretty impressive. Chrissy was just going crazy because she had taught this stuff in 3rd grade and really had a lot of knowledge about it. She actually went into King Tut's. It cost more. All the treasures are out because they're in the Egyptian Museum, but the mummified body is still there. So she got in there and got a couple cool shots of that. Then we went from there to a temple to a lady, Hashep, and went to the Hashep temple. And so apparently her husband, when he was king, she was the one that was really kind of running the show. And this is 1200 BC, really unusual for women to be in control, but she was such a good leader that the people wanted to keep her even after her husband died. And then obviously there was these guys that were jealous that a woman took over, so they came and destroyed her temple. So they were like really in the process of renovating it. And then we saw some big statues of Hashep's temple as well. But pretty impressive temple. That, again, the first one that, and I think the only one that we're going to see that's devoted to a woman. And then we went to an alabaster shop that has been making alabaster boxes for generations. Just kind of an interesting process of how they take the stone and chisel it away and sand it down. And so we ended up buying an alabaster jar and another little souvenir. So boy, it's been a hot and long day, and still so much to process and put my head around.